Welcome to the Polishing Profits Podcast, where we discuss all things related to the business of detailing. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, this podcast is for you. In each episode, we'll cover topics ranging from business management to marketing solutions. Here to help you grow your detailing business, your hosts, Nick and Dustin.
Whoop, whoop. What up? What up?
What's up, Dustin? How we doing this week?
It's going very good, Nick. How are things on your end?
It's going pretty good. We're a little crispy. We're busy. This is a busy time for us.
Yeah,
we have 60 degrees up here. We got 60 degrees up here in
it's like
Chicagoland.
75. I'm back in shorts and
Yeah.
short fan.
And I say 60, but it's like a high of 60. So it starts at 30, but it gets up to 60 for like a couple minutes and then it starts dropping again.
We're starting about 60 and then ending about 80. So
yeah, there you go. That's nice.
But yeah, things are good. I mean, a little bit of change in the shop. I've actually kind of made my way back into the shop for some time to really work on our shop management position.
Okay.
We've kind of recycled who was leading the shop and want to develop that position thoroughly. I want to kind of build the processes out, put somebody in there that can succeed. Give them the tools to succeed, basically. So it's good. It's a good thing. You know
what's interesting on that shop manager position? It's always changing a little bit. You know what I mean? So you might have someone that's great for a certain part of the business, right? And that's a priority that year. But then all of a sudden, you guys are shifting the business a different way, and maybe it's not the perfect fit anymore. And it's important to take that into consideration.
It's evolving. Business evolves, things change, people change. And you just have to be ready for that and be willing to go back in. So as big as a company as we are and have been, the willingness for us to just get back out there and say, hey, you know what, we're gonna start from the ground up and understand what's going on out here, the issues, and fix them. And literally in 2 days, man, you've seen like a complete 360 out there, and it's so nice, to the point we're buying pizza for the guys for lunch today.
Is it pizza for them or is it for you, Dustin?
Man, I can't have pizza. I got to run a marathon with Mike Carlin in 2 weeks, and he's got me nervous. He's got this very ambitious goal of a 4-hour marathon, and for those of you that don't know marathon math, that is 9-minute miles for 26 miles.
That's wild.
And for those of you that have ever run a 9-minute mile for 20 or 26 of them, rather, it's pretty tough. It's a tough.
It's one thing to run, you know what I mean, a 9-minute mile for 1 mile.
That's right.
It's probably not too crazy, but for 26, that's wild.
26 of them is pretty intense.
You knock them down one at a time. 26, 25, 24. All of a sudden, you're done.
You just one at a time. Just one more.
Yeah.
What happens at about 18? 18 about mile 18 is when it really gets tough.
Yeah.
That's everything is pretty much gone and hurting but anyways, so I got that in 3.
You guys have fun with that. Enjoy it.
Join us.
No, it's okay. I'm good. Over at Splash, we had actually a cool thing I figured I'd talk to you about that I think the viewers could get a little value out of. Over at our Northbrook store, we had a ceramic get dropped off. And I took a couple pictures. I sent them to Chris. He's going to pop them up there on the screen for a little Nick story time. So this car's got like 25 miles. It's a Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's got some paint imperfections, some defects from the factory. And I know Chris has got a little background story
time with Nick. Let's go.
So the people listening, there's a picture, and you can see how the paint didn't set correctly underneath the clear coat. And it leaves these sort of circles. We've seen them before, but a big shout out to Sarah over at Northbrook. She handled it really well with the customer. We washed the car, prepped it, did our pre-inspection before starting any polishing for the ceramic. And she called them and was like, hey, you've got some stuff on your car. I would recommend come take a look at it, take it back to the dealer, and let us know how to proceed. And doing this, and we use obviously Detail Bookie to take these pictures, send them to the customer, keep that communication lines open. Was a really helpful process and made it pain-free. Customer was super appreciative. Like, hey, picked up the car like 2 days ago, and they're like, "Yeah, I didn't really look at it. It's just a shiny car off the lot." You know what I mean? Everyone's
well,
sort
you
of
don't
blind.
expect anything. Yeah, you don't expect
Yeah.
it. You get the, you're on the high of the purchase, and
Yep.
you just want to go
But it's
take
just a good thing to sort of keep an eye out. Just for all these little for all detail shops, big or small. When you get these ceramics and big tickets, you're gonna get blamed for that. If we did a ceramic,
Oh, absolutely, you'd get blamed for that.
it would have been a nightmare later.
Well, yeah, and the idea there is to making sure that the check-in process is thorough enough to where you're looking for things that may cause you pain later. So, like, in that process, it's not just to check it off the list because, oh yeah, I say I check it in. It's to literally inspect the vehicle and make sure there's nothing that causes concern that you need to bring up to the customer ahead of time. Because if you would have polished that, or if you would have coated it, or even noticed it when you were polishing it, there's some level of responsibility that you may have to take on that, even though it's obvious that you didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So just figured I'd share a little something going on at Splash. It's real stuff. You know what I mean? This is something that happened this morning. I'm like, hey, look, this will be cool to share with the people. Keep an eye out. All these 23, 24, it was a 24 Grand Cherokee. Keep an eye out on the paint. It's super thin. You know what I mean? There's going to be more and more of these little defects. And again, customers are buying these cars and they're obviously more expensive than they were 5 years ago. So they expect it to be perfect. And they're wanting to do a ceramic to protect their vehicle and protect their investment. So it's just important to do our detailers' due diligence of checking those cars in and making sure, hey, we might be the first real set of eyes that look over the entire car, because the customer usually doesn't do it. The dealer is definitely not doing it.
Right. And they're hiring you as the professional to do that. This is not just to make that customer happy or to make that, X amount of dollars, $1,000 or $1,500, whatever it is. It's not about that. It's about your job as a professional to inspect that vehicle, make sure that it's okay, make sure that what you say you're going to do can be done. And there's nothing that's, jumping off the page like this imperfection that says that's going to come back to haunt you. And a lot of that's just CYA, and and until you get bit on a few things like that and have to pay for something that you definitely didn't do, because you didn't catch it in a check-in process or in a before picture, like you said, and absolutely uploading it to Detail Bookie keeps it all in one place, makes it real nice, easy to find later. But having a thorough check-in process and not just saying yes, I'll do it, whatever drops off, is imperative.
And sometimes it's like, let's say they drop it off today and you don't start it till tomorrow. So making sure that process is in place of like whenever they drop it off, even if you're not starting the job,
do it then. Yeah,
do
don't
it right
wait.
Away.
Yeah, do not wait to the next day, because it's in your care, it's in your hands, right? And it seems sketchy, right? Like if you call them,
hey, what happened last night with my car? Why is that showing up now?
Well, like, okay, I'll give you an example. Story time with Dustin. Cue it. Come on, man.
No, you don't get the music.
All right, no. So I'll give an example for it. We had a boat that was on our lot, and we were supposed to do it a couple weeks ago. It got pushed. It didn't get done that week. They got moved to the next week, and then they got pushed really to the end of that week. Well, by the time we got to it, the check-in process, it was dirty, but they didn't realize how oxidized it was.
Yeah.
And so now we're calling this customer, which we should have been done with his boat 7 to 10 days prior, and saying all of a sudden now the ticket's got to be raised, and it's going to take longer. I said, you can't do that. Like, that should have been caught at check-in. I said, sand and polish the boat, bill them for what you originally quoted them for, honor the ticket, and get this boat out, on its way. But had that been caught at check-in like it should, then we would have got paid to fix the job.
Let me ask you this, and I know we're going to get to some year-end stuff, right? But this is a good conversation we're having.
Yep.
How important? So I've been brainstorming here with our ads and what we're doing on these free, ceramic inspections, right? Free paint inspections, right? To do that extra education, communication with the customer before even booking the job, Dustin. How much of that are you guys doing over there? We're not doing a ton of it. We're doing it after they book, right? Yeah. Instead of using it as a sales tactic. But yeah, would love your point of view on that.
Yeah. So our sales team is designed to ask certain questions to give us information about that job before we give them a price. So we are digging in a little bit. We're asking them things like in a boat, for instance. how oxidized. And I said, well, most of them don't even know what oxidation is. So we have some tricks that we can tell them. Can you see a reflection? If you go stand in front of the boat, can you see color? Can you, if you touch it, is it chalky? So these questions that we have, and we have them for vehicles, like how long has it been since it's been detailed? They start to give us information about the job without realizing that they're giving us information about the job. Like this is,
and we do that too over the phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We try and get as much as we can, but actually getting that customer for these higher ticket items and saying, hey, look, you're dropping off a ceramic for 3 days. Great. I want to get you on the books just to pre-inspect it. So if there's something that has to get taken care of first, hey, you got rock chips, you got paint defects, you've got these other things. And sometimes they're on the fence. They don't even want to book, but they want to get educated on that. You see?
So that happens maybe 10% of the jobs that we book.
Okay.
They come here and they'll say, hey, how much, we're inquiring about a detail, and we're able to inspect the vehicle and tell them exactly what it's going to need. Matter of fact, we just had a car pull up and it was heavy overspray. They were painting a Whataburger, and the truck got completely covered in overspray. So what we do is no cost at all. We go and tape off a 12-inch by 12-inch section, and we clay bar that 1 foot, that 1 square foot, and we time it. Okay. Yeah. Then we look at the size of the vehicle and how many of those square feet is around the vehicle. Maybe it's 30. Yeah. And we multiply that time by 30, and that tells us how much time we should have in the clay. So inspection before pricing is absolutely something we like to do.
Yeah.
Because we could give you an actual.
It's an inconvenience to the customer in some way, right? It creates a little bit of friction.
Oh, it does. Yeah. We wouldn't require that to give you a price, because it's so much friction to have to bring it down here before I even know the price, before I know if I'm interested in you. They're just not going for that a lot. So we ask certain questions, get as much information, and then it is a sight unseen estimate that at the check-in process, we're digging deep and going over things. And we have encountered, just like you did, encountered things that kept us from doing a job. Maybe the clear coat's failing.
So Dustin, you're coming in a little soft there. I'll let you get a little closer.
Yeah, that's fine. And Chris, you may turn my mic up too if you can.
Yeah. The one thing I was going to say, so what I actually did this morning, because, who starts at 9? You got to start a little earlier than that. I'm actually testing out a couple, ads, Google ads that are just about free PPF consultation and free ceramic consultations, right? That'll bring them to the store, test that out, and actually create that on the booking site so they can go and grab 15 minutes. Yeah. And I want to be there to see if that conversion is going to be different than just the sales team.
Absolutely.
Because
and I think if you're in an area where a lot of your customers are organically coming by, it definitely makes sense. So we're a little off the beaten path. We're not far off the interstate, but we're definitely not where our customers are. Our customers are coming in from kind of all areas. And it's not literally our local community that we're serving a lot of. So, I don't think that would serve us very well. Now, I'll tell you what we do. We'll do is my dad will go look at vehicles. So like our boats really, before we give you a price, like if it's a larger boat, if it's going to be a larger job, we'll come to your place, wherever the boat's at or wherever the vehicle's at, and look at it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very cool. Let's, and I know you're still coming a little soft. Let's jump into, really? Yeah, I just got a text from one of the viewers saying Dustin's talking through a hash brown right now.
A hash brown. What's wrong with our viewers?
There you go.
Hey,
yeah, I want you just emceeing. There you go.
I removed the hash brown.
There you go.
Can't do it. You're forgiven for not responding to my text. Did I not respond, Matthew? I don't know. I don't remember getting a text. Yeah, hopefully, guys, let me know if you can't. Let me know if you guys can't. Is it better? Yeah. I'll try to lean in too. Yeah. Usually talking soft is not my strong suit. Usually it's the other way around. They're like dialing back some. So
look, it's end of the year. It's November, right? Yes. We don't wait till January 1st to do end of the year. We're jumping on it in November.
Yeah.
And for Splash, some of the biggest things that we do is we usually have like a 3 or 5 year plan. Like, hey, what's our goal for this year? So this year was like a growth year. And I kind of want to start there because we bought, a new detailing van. We bought, all the PPF graph tech printers, and we spent a bunch of money for growth. into the next 3 years.
Yep.
Do you ever sort of plan yourself to have a down year in terms of what the books is showing, but knowing that you're doing it for where you're trying to get to?
Absolutely. And actually 23 was that year for us.
Look at us twins.
Yeah,
Twins.
We knew we were trimming fat and changing the way that some of our businesses ran to build efficiency for 24. I told y'all it was a season of KPIs for us. That was the last step in 23 to understand how our businesses and employees are performing in each task. But we had to kind of take it all the way down to nothing in a sense, bare bones minimum. And then we wanted to build back. So 23 for us was absolutely a year where we said, we don't think that the way that we're growing is sustainable. When I'll kind of fill you in, when payroll is following income at the same rate, then you're never making any more money. Like you're just causing more stress. You're causing more, heartache on the team, headache on the team, and you're not doing anything better. We want to create separation in that. And that's, excuse me, that's what we're focusing on. And in order to do that, we kind of had to start to trim the fat on edges. What are we going to go with? What's our, what is our focus, and regain that?
Now, when you go and look at those numbers, I use QuickBooks, you know what I mean? And I think if someone, again, we're talking a 1-2 man mobile unit shop, whatever it may be, and you don't use QuickBooks, what do you sort of give them as that? What's that word of advice? How do you start tracking your numbers? How do you create a year-end plan?
Yeah, man. And that's a great conversation. There are certain numbers, and it's not rocket science, that you need to be tracking to understand.
What are those numbers, Dustin? Let's.
I mean, so some of them are like your conversion percentage. How many estimates are you converting to scheduled jobs? That tells you so much. Okay. First of all, it tells you how's your sales process. All right. It tells you that how your pricing, it's connected to your pricing. If you're converting every job you give a price on, chances are your pricing's too cheap. If you're not converting enough.
What's that number for Easy In? I'll look it up for Splash right now. I don't even know what it is off the top of my head.
Oh, so it's around, so right now we're running about 45%. Normally we're running about 55%.
Okay.
We like to be in that 55, 58%. Now,
and that conversion, how does it calculate that through detail booking? Just because I'm just curious. I don't even know.
Every job that comes in is an estimate first, and then when it converts over to scheduled, that becomes a scheduled job. So anything left open is considered a non-scheduled job. Anything that's scheduled is scheduled. Divide those numbers up, and you have a percentage of jobs that you're scheduling. Now, a 0% means that you're not putting in the jobs. And this is so common. These people, these detailers call me all the time. I talk to them literally every day. It's like, man, I want to do this. I want to do that. I said, cool. Let me check out your back office. And there's one job booked in the last month. Where's all your work? Oh man, it's on a napkin over there on the desk. Okay. All right. And I feel that. Okay, great. Yeah. That's great for a woman.
No, I used to be pen and paper. I used to be, that's how we were before.
Me too. So here's the problem. Okay, that works for a one-man show. But when you call me and you say, Dustin, I want to hire a team, I want to build, I want to grow, I want to scale this business, I want it to be more than just me. Yeah. I don't want to be polishing the rest of my life. I want to build a team. Well, the first thing that team needs is information. All right. You got to start putting your jobs. And guess what? You don't go hire 10 people and then decide to start doing the right things. Okay. Yeah. You start to do the right things, and then you grow into the people, into the team. So putting your jobs in the system to have numbers to track is imperative. And it's such an easy thing to do, because you're organically writing it down, you're sending a text, you're doing something with that job. You could just as easily pull it up and say, Dustin, F-250, standard in and out, and now it's booked.
Now, the one thing that I really like with detail booking that sort of helps out a lot is you're able to see what's getting booked from the back office, right? People in store, conversion, sales, the sales team, right? And then you're seeing the stuff that's just created out of the air, right? The people that go on your website, do all the work, did the research, and they schedule their own job, sometimes repeat customers because they've been educated on your services.
Absolutely.
But that's the aspect of it that I really like.
So think about this. Another number, customer creation. How many new customers per week are you putting into your system or into your business? I tell people when they ask me, or they tell me, oh, well, it takes too long, or I don't have time to book jobs. I said, well, okay, you want to build a team, right? Let's just say you hired somebody for sales. And what if they told you that they didn't have time to put the jobs in? They're giving estimates all day, but they don't have time to put them in. I mean, I'm working, trust me, Dustin, but I just don't have time to put it in. So you just trust me that I'm giving estimates.
Yeah.
That don't make sense. So you as the owner can't do that either, you know?
Yeah. No, I hear you. The one thing I'll make it, and I'll try and even, let's say you don't have detail bookie yet.
Yeah. Or any,
or QuickBooks. And you know what? You've got money coming into the bank account. You got money going out of the bank account, right? And it's just plain Jane, super simple. You know, what is it? Keep it simple, stupid, KSS.
Yeah, KISS. Yep. KISS method. Yep.
So if you're looking at that money going in, and like you said, I like how you said, go and put it into Excel. Hey, by month, this is where it's going. And what are those expenses created with it? And I'm a quarters guy. I like breaking it up by quarters because sometimes, let's say you have a good quarter. Well, you're going to plan on the next month. Hey, you know what? I'm going to invest in doing a couple things because of what happened the previous quarter. And then that goes down. So I'm more of a quarters versus a year guy. But that's, I think, looking at those bank accounts, seeing what's going in, seeing what's going out, and being like, hey, where are the inefficient? Look at your own numbers. You got to look at your own checking account and see what's going in and out.
Yeah, and so a lot of issues that we have with detailers is, so first of all, detailing is seasonal. It doesn't matter how big of a shop you operate, how great your marketing is. If you have great marketing in a great shop, you're going to be busier in the spring than you are in the fall or in the winter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's what's going to happen, right? So understanding seasonality and how it affects cash flow. So if we're only looking at our checking account, okay, we see money there when we're making money and we spend it because we don't have a forecast of cash. We can't say, well, what does it look like in 3 months? If I spent money in July at the rate that it was coming in, I would not have the money to survive November and December. I have to hold cash reserves. I can't spend that money until November and December, where we're covering payroll and we're covering things that may not be covered during those months.
Well, and that's easier said than done, right? That's easier said. That's probably one of the hardest. Yeah, you have a great summer, right? You're like, great. I'm going to do this. Buy new polisher,
new polisher,
new stuff for the house. Pull more money, more distributions from the business.
Viper chair, that's what's happening. Yeah, and because there's no forecasting. There's cash in the bank there. Yeah, you made money. Yeah, you deserve to spend your money you made, right? Yeah. That's the concept. I'll pat myself on the back. I'm getting a new Viper chair. Okay, well, in November and December, don't call me saying, man, I don't know how I'm going to make it week to week. We'll sell the Viper chair, you know?
Yeah.
But listen, that's cash forecasting. And listen, it's not rocket science. It's really not. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a few numbers that you should track on a weekly basis that tell you how your whole business is performing. And I'm talking about marketing. I'm talking about sales. I'm talking about production, which is the work that you're producing. I'm talking about, quality. And you can probably sum it up in about 8 numbers that you can track weekly, daily, then weekly. Yeah. And if one of these numbers start to change, what dial to turn to fix it.
But putting that's effort, right? That's effort and time from the business owner, small business owner, where, hey, Dustin, I got to do that. I got to do a marketing plan. I got to go do the work. I got to go. You see what I'm saying? That's the reality of a lot of these businesses. And it's hard. And it's really hard for a lot of people.
And more than that is you don't know what those numbers are you need to track. So you're thinking of, and it never fails, like when you're polishing a truck or car and you start to think about all the things that you're not doing, but you need to be doing. And then you're kind of like, oh man, there's so much to do. I just don't do any of it. Yeah. And so, but we can deduce that down to very simple. It can be simplified, and we do that. And I do that for others. And we have a coaching program, and I help others do that same thing, so it is possible though.
Now let's flip it a little bit. Let's say again, 23 was not just a growth year, right? You weren't spending a lot before. You were like, hey, I need to accumulate and save. And we had a really good year, and you've got that extra, right? How do you sort of make those planned purchases, right? November, December, for Splash, we just bought a bunch of towels. because anything non-perishable, I'm going to use the towels. They're not going to go bad. You know what I mean? I got my guy, Max and Mart. I'll give him a shout out. He's awesome. He used to be a local guy, but he gets us our microfibers, and I'm like, yeah, give me 20 boxes. You know what I mean? It's like little stuff like that. Hey, pallet of salt for the winter. What are those things that, hey, aren't going to go bad and you're going to use? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Same here. And towels are a great example because we stockpile towels too. They're consumables. You go through them. And we're always looking for the best deal on those.
You know what's crazy though is then you end up kicking yourself because in 2 years those towels are going to be. It's not like they don't get cheaper. I don't know if you know this, but nothing gets cheaper.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I'm like, I should have bought 40 boxes.
The great price increase has never happened.
So the price decrease on anything that you use doesn't go down. So loading up on some stuff that you know you're going to use, be having confidence in your business going into the next year. Is a good way to sort of plan and spend a little money that you know will pay itself back.
And you said it right. It's planning. And for the owner operator that's not using anything to track anything, and it's almost impossible. I refer to it as flying a plane with no instruments and not being able to see. How can you run a business without knowing what's going on, without knowing your numbers, without knowing any of this stuff, right? It's the same thing as take off an airplane and do away with all the instruments and visual aid. You're gonna land, but you're not gonna like the landing. Okay. And business is the same way. And it's not super complex. It's not. You can deduce it down to 8 numbers in a business and try and know how marketing is performing, know how sales are going, know how your shops you are producing, and know if you're profitable.
The one thing I want to throw out at you is like, listen, no matter any business you have, you're going to have a curveball that comes at you when you least expect it. So if you're not doing the planning, you're not going to be able to handle the curveball when it comes. Right. So you're trying to get everything in row. You're like, oh my God, I've got everything perfect. And the second you have everything perfect, that's when the curveball happons.
Well, you know what I mean? Let me ask you this. How can you celebrate if your goal, like if you don't have anything out there, like I want to make as much money as I can. Like I want to make more money.
Yeah.
Well, when do you get to celebrate? Because more never has a finish line.
Yeah.
Or it never has at least where you pass by and you can actually take a look and say, hey, I did this thing. So planning also kind of gives you some reward when you go accomplish that goal or, and so that gives you that little milestone along the way that says, hey, the things that I'm doing. It also, if you don't have those numbers there, you're creating like an endless amount of variables that you don't know if what you're doing is working.
And I think for our side, right, it's when we add these new things, right, and see it's keeping that Rubik's Cube evolving, right? Because once you solve it, right, or you never get to solve it, right? You just keep going, and then you get burnt out and you don't enjoy it as much.
Absolutely.
So making sure that you keep that sort of enjoyment in the business and excited to be there and excited for the growth aspect of it, and that's what those are those goals and those growth goals that you're really excited about.
Well, and that's what year end is all for us. We review the year in past, and then we spend literally a month talking about the next year, creating a budget, a 12-month budget every month, and that's income forecast, that's expense, that's overhead, that's all the things that we plan on doing that year, and we do it month by month. And then that gives us a framework. And some of it's guesswork. Like if you're a new company or if you've only been in business a couple of years and you don't have data to go back on, you're going to have to take educated guesses on what you think your cost of chemicals are going to be this year. But you start somewhere and you can do that. If you say, hey, you say, I want to detail, $10,000 a month. Well, then you can pretty much bank on, $2,000 a month in product or whatever, and so, but to put something down and then say, oh, I was way off, at least you're tracking it.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. This time of year, right? You've got Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas, Halloween. It's such a weird time of year because when you've got days where you've got a little bit of time and you don't try and get those year-end projects, right? Whether that's looking at the books or whether that's getting everything prepped for the accountant or doing those little things when you have the marketing. That always ends up falling last on our side. I'll be honest about it because we're just so busy. how that balancing act, how do you guys handle that balancing act with the holidays? Because it just, you blink and it's January.
Oh, absolutely. And that's exactly what happens. And so really scheduling these things in is important for us. We're a bigger company, so we juggle a lot of schedules. Here's the thing about it is time blocking. Like you don't have to solve all this in one day. If you say I'm owner operator, I got to detail 3 cars today, I have no time.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. And if you were to set 30 minutes or 1 hour every morning to do the thing that you need to do, next thing you know, when you turn around in 2 weeks, you've done the thing that you needed to do, and it looks great and wonderful. The problem is everybody wants to tackle the whole task at one time, and if they can't do it, then they're not going to do it at all. And that's and that's no way to keep progressing.
Yeah. No. Anything else year end that sort of caught your eye that you guys do that's interesting?
Yeah, it's our Christmas party. Our epic Christmas party.
That's one more thing to plan.
Oh, it's 100% a plan thing. And then we do like these yearbooks. We do a yearbook every year, and it's got pictures of everyone and like things. We even do a little roast in the back for the ones that have left. Like it's a whole roast. And then we plan the have the Christmas party where speaking of Christmas party, though, Billy and Vandy Smith surprised me at ours last year. They came to the Christmas party. That's where I got little Dustin right here.
Yeah.
But it's an epic Christmas party, man. We have a lot of fun. I mean, and also we look forward to that. That's a big thing for us.
That's awesome. No, I respect it. It's usually, again, we'll cater in food. We'll do it, we close early on the days before the big holidays, and we usually do just, food, drinks, keep it chill. We don't do yearbooks. We're not on that level, but no, I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty fun. And and again, it is part of that year end. It's not the accounting aspect. It's not, but it is something that's important too.
It's the fun part to me. And do y'all do a monthly goal instead of a yearly goal? Oh, absolutely. So here's what we do is we take so how we do it is we take our monthly sales from the year prior, and we usually multiply it by our growth percentage that we want to see. So our monthly income, it takes in consideration seasonality. So we're not doing the same amount of money per month now that we were in May. Okay.
Yeah.
So May's monthly goal is increased based on what we did last year times a certain percentage of increase of growth. It's not going to be the same as it was back in 2019 and 20 and 21 when things were really good. It's slowing down some. It's harder to sell. So to answer your question, yes, we do monthly goals for our income, and we do monthly goals for our expenditures, a budget for what we plan on spending that month.
I'll throw one more thing in there. It's a great question because I actually like to do it more categorized based on the different services, right? Because again, we are a car wash, detailing, ceramic, PPF, and mobile, right? So we've got those 5 branches all the way across, and we've got those monthly goals that we want to be at for each one of them, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to review it at the end of the month and be like, look, car wash was out of this world, right? But detailing took a step back. Is that seasonal? How do we address that? Hey, we were doing a ton of mobiles, and because of that, we didn't have the staff to do PPF. And really going across those 5 branches and making those informed decisions. So even if your guys aren't doing everything like that and you're just doing detailing and ceramic, right? I do think breaking those up in your monthly goal is a pretty good strategy because instead of just one big number, you really want to see, okay, what's driving those numbers?
We do
decisions.
And then we take that monthly goal and we break it down by week, and we have a weekly meeting. So our weekly staff meeting.
Too much work. Yeah, we don't do the weekly.
Oh man, well we have a staff meeting every Monday, and so it puts everybody on point. Anything that we're working on, our numbers, we distribute those. We review the numbers from the week prior. If we're short, that gets added back into the numbers, so the numbers increase, so we can make our monthly goal.
Yeah.
And if we're not hitting our goal, then the conversation is, what do we need to be doing to hit our goal? Yeah. What changes need to be made? What's happening that's causing us to fall short? But we don't want to we want to be proactive about that weekly. We want to know what's happening so we can make those changes.
That word proactive is probably the most important thing. And I struggle with that. I'll be honest. You know what I mean? It's like, I think with my old age, time goes faster, man. I'm telling you, these weeks feel like days. I don't know about you. But I'm like, for sure. Yeah, you want to do a weekly meeting. I'm already on the next, you know what I mean? I don't have the bandwidth or the time to try and plan that out for each week. But that's me personally. I don't know how that is for the viewers. If you guys have got it and you guys are locked in on the weekly, I check on the day before, see if there's anything weird. But I'm just there monthly.
Here's the thing about it. And so like you need to make time, even if you're owner operator, you and a couple employees, you need to understand these things and these numbers, right? You need to, like, that's the grade of the business. How well are you performing? And without knowing that, if you just wait to the month end or the year end, like, you couldn't have affected it. You didn't have any impact on it. You're just working as hard as you can to make as much money as you can. That, to me, that is terrible. I want to know, I want to go, okay, I want to make 80 grand this month. That's 20,000. If it's a 4-week month, that's a $20,000 week month, $5,000 or $4,000 a day. That's what we got to make in the shop. If the shop's not producing $4,000 a day, then we are underperforming. What do we got to do to get it? Is it sales? Is it marketing? Is it production? Do we have the jobs here, but we just can't get them out the building? So,
and you know what's crazy is we do a similar thing. We're going to look at the month, right? Yeah. And we're going to divide it by however many days we were open.
Yeah.
And I just,
daily rate.
And I do an average. You know what I mean? I like doing a little bit. You got to play the numbers, the law of averages a little bit, because you're going to have, in this business, it's like this. You get a rain day, you're mobile. Well, that day's 0. Yep. You know what I mean? But then you're going to go and move it and work a 12-hour day the next day to make up for it. So I do like doing the law of averages a little bit, and you got to scale it. You know, if you're just doing it every week and you live in somewhere up north where it rains half the week, you know, and you got to try and have a guideline there.
Yeah, and the beauty of that is, so we track it weekly, and then we put notes out to the side. So if it was a rain out, or if it was, a fired shop manager, if it was whatever, like, those notes are in our sheet. So that way next year or 2 years from now, we can look back and say, why was our goal 20,000, but we did 12? Okay. Yeah. What happened there? Oh, it looks like it rained for 3 out of our 5 working days.
There's been some crazy months where you get some rain, and I'm talking 2 weeks of 2 out of the 4 weeks of rain. Those aren't fun months.
Yeah, but
and did we miss that one question? And I apologize. Yeah, I know Chris threw up a question there.
I do the same. I do a weekly meeting with my sales guy. Make sure, and that's just communication. It doesn't have to be this
Matthew's on top of
thing.
Good stuff, Matthew.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this formal thing. I don't want to make it sound like, so our staff meeting is pretty formal, but like you can have a quick 15 minutes. So me and Christine on Detail Bookie have a 15-minute sales meeting every morning. Yeah. It's just 15 minutes check in. What are open issues? What are, any communication gaps? Is there anything that's that's going on that you need me on? That's communication. That's making sure we're on track. And then Monday, staff meeting.
Yeah. And is that something that's like in the calendar?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's scheduled it's recurring at the same time. Easy ends at 9 to 10. Detail Bookies 10 to 11. I have meetings after that for other companies. So Monday is the day of meeting for sure.
That's a fun day. That's a fun day. Yeah. Really cool show. I think we covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say
Go ahead.
is for detailers you don't have to overcomplicate this, and you don't have to have it all figured out to start. You can just start, get a spreadsheet and put your daily sales number in, put how many jobs you completed that day, take your sales divided by the number of jobs. That's your average price per job. Okay. Now, if you go to a little bit step further and put in the number of estimates that you gave. Yeah. All right. Now, if we take the number of jobs we schedule versus the number of estimates, now we have a conversion percentage. So all of this stuff is just telling you how you're performing, and it doesn't have to be extremely complex,
That splash conversion percentage is 86.
Oh, knocking it out, baby. Yeah, knocking it out. Yeah,
we're throw out a number there. I know we got some other Detail Bookie people watching, so let's see who's got above that 86. I don't even know what that means. I couldn't even tell you.
That's how many
jobs are scheduled. 48.9.
See, we're very proud of our rebooked percentage. It's over 80. And what that means is,
but that takes time, right? Because this is year 3 with us for Detail Bookie. Yeah. So that's been just growing, which has been pretty cool.
Yeah, our rebooked percentage is 82%. Our conversion right now is 42%. It's dropped. We're listen, when I tell you, when we're having to sell, and I'm saying we're actively selling our services. It's not just calling it the job. Yeah. It is. We are having to sell them. We developed a very strenuous aggressive 10-day follow-up campaign of every estimate. Every estimate gets a phone call at day 1, gets a text message day 3, day 5, day 7, day 9, and gets a phone call on day 10. That's how much we're communicating to our customers over 10 days. To an
now, those are
estimate
leads, right? Those would be leads. Would these be
unclosed estimates? Yeah. Open
unclosed
estimates. Yeah, they call it in, got a job. Hey, how much to ceramic coat my Porsche, and so that goes into our system, and we hammer that person until
now
we try.
That system is not Detail Bookie, right?
It works in conjunction with Logical, which is the CRM that we use alongside of Detail Bookie. And by the way, anybody that there was somebody that reached out last week about that, shoot us a message or give us a call, and we can help set you up with that. It is a sister company of ours. And there's going to be integrations with Detail Bookie that work that, but that's called that's a sales process. That's a sales pipeline, and that's a sales process.
So that's why knowing your numbers and your business is so important, because of what you guys are doing, right? That's why it's going to bring the conversion a little lower, right?
Yeah.
But for us, we're much more passive with it. You see what I'm saying? We're not there aggressively. These are people that are already there and they want to, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Buy now. Yeah.
Buy it now. So knowing those numbers, it's important.
Yeah. Oh, it's extremely important. It looks like Chris got something for us.
What do we got, Chris?
How do we increase profits on the slow rain months coming? So increase profits. In order to increase profits, you got to know expense. And so if you aren't tracking your expense and looking at ways to save, so if you're slowing down, then spending should slow down as well. So decreasing expense increases profit. If you can't control how much business is coming in the door, you better control how much is going out. How much cash is going out. So go ahead.
The way I would sort of counter those rain months is figuring out what are the services that you provide, right? Yeah. That are going to do the best in that type of environment, right? Now, I don't know if if we've got a shop or we're just mobile, and trying to figure out what are going to be those. If it's ceramic coatings, because you're like, hey, I do those indoors, I do those in the shop, and I'm going to just push that. Then all the marketing the month before the winter's coming is all ceramic coating marketing.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, sort of figuring out what the services at that time of year are going to be most prevalent and doubling down on those. Meanwhile, maybe the mobile, right? You're not going to be doing mobile in the rain as much.
Yeah.
And focusing a little less on that. Now, if you're strictly mobile, the only thing I would say is trying to focus on, hey, on those days that aren't raining, right? How can I become more efficient to make up that margin?
Absolutely. How much time can I work? How can I be more efficient? And juggling my calendar and my trips. How far am I driving? How can I align jobs up that are close in the same area? But again, that's talking about how to increase sales. And that may be what Marco was asking us, is how, instead of not increasing profit, but increasing sales. So looking at the services that you're providing, things like interiors. When it's raining, you can always do an interior. Like interior doesn't change because of the rain. And so promoting, and all that's about your marketing. You don't just get more interiors, or you don't just get more ceramic coatings because you want it and it's raining. You got to tell your customers that's what they need at that time. And that happens through your marketing efforts.
The one thing I would say is, again, it's pretty much exactly what you said, but with the marketing, let's say you do have a CRM, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to go and use your existing customer base.
Yeah, absolutely.
Say, hey, look, guys, we're doing maintenance washes this month. I know it's super rainy and again, I know you want to drive that profit margin up when it's raining, or that's how the question was.
That's the question is, yeah.
Right. But for me, my head goes to, hey, I need to drive sales.
Absolutely.
Need to drive sales. I actually see the profit margin being lower on those rain months and being okay with that.
Right.
But driving those sales to be able to still make the same amount at a lower margin when you're technically would be slower.
Well, expense is only going to go down so far. There's certain things in your business that are going to happen regardless. Rent, power, water, insurance. Those things don't change whether it's raining or not. That's your recurring expenses that do not change. All right. So there's a certain point where profit cannot be changed at a level of revenue because those things happen. Yeah. If you increase sales, you can create a gap in profit and sales by creating efficiencies, not being aware of how much product you're using, be aware of how much you're traveling to jobs, making sure that you're charging for the upsellable services that you're doing, and all. I think Chris has one more question for us.
I like that upsell aspect you're talking about.
What is your 10-day tactic? One more time. Okay,
Hold
so
on,
10 days.
Let him get the notebook out. Let him get the notebook out.
10-day tactic. Okay, day one, job goes into our system. They get a follow-up text that says, hey, this is Gabby. She's our sales manager. Hey, this is Gabby, making sure that you got your detail from us, with a link that they can click and go look at it again, making sure that you got the estimate we sent over. Yes, we got it. Looks great. Talking with the wife, whatever. Or no response. Day 3 is a text. It's another nudge. Hey, just and I could read these to you, but to save a little time. Day 3, there's a text going out, and they're really crafty. By the way, these are not salesy at all. They're lighthearted. They're kind of comical. One of them says like, "It's not you. It's not me. It's you."
Are you ghosting me?
Yeah, I mean, and so like as mama didn't raise no quitter kind of thing, like we're not gonna, and so it's very lighthearted salesy that kind of puts a little smile on their face when they see it, but it's nudging them, reminding them that we're here. So day 1 is a phone call. Day 1 is a text, letting them know that, making sure they got it. Day 3 is a phone call. Day 5 is a text. Day 7 is a text. Day 9 is a text. Day 10 is a phone call. So we start and end on a phone call, making sure. And if they don't answer that phone call, we text them immediately. Yeah. It's an aggressive campaign for 10 days because we know that if we can get you to book within those 10 days, you're there. If it's outside of those 10 days, chances are it's a longer term project, or, you're really not interested. Maybe you have it done somewhere else. And we note that whatever they tell us. And if they're non-responsive, we note that too. But if they say, hey, price is too high, use another shop, blah, blah, blah. We note that, and then we run a report and says how many people are using another shop, how many people say we're too high, how many people are unresponsive. And
I like that last part, because that last part could even be used, it's just feedback. It's just feedback.
Absolutely. It's information that we use to manage our business.
Yeah. No, really.
I help with marketing my company better. Yeah, this is still my first year. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and marketing's everything. Here's just to make it easy for you. 2 things. One is market the jobs that you want to do. If you want to do ceramic coatings, don't show an interior every post that you make. Also, put yourself in the pictures that you're using. You sell a service, not a shiny car. You sell you, not the shiny car. We're not car salesmen. We sell detailing. Detailing is a service that we provide. Humans provide that service. That's what people need to see in your marketing. They want to see you, Marco, doing the work. Put your phone on a tripod, take a picture, put gloves on, please, for the love, and grab a polisher, polish in the paint. They want to see the act of what you're doing because that's what they're purchasing. They're not purchasing a shiny car. They're purchasing you to make their car shiny.
I'll throw 2 little things in there for Marco. Is one, in the picture that I see there, his van looks great. So that van, if it's parked at home and people aren't able to see it, you know what I mean? I would even say, hey, create a connection. Hey, I'll give you a free wash. Can I just park my van here? You know what I mean? Absolutely. That's just first thing that comes to mind. Easiest marketing you can do is that van looks phenomenal.
Great idea.
So, the second thing was, and I just lost it. It's going to be on that marketing side. Trying to
are you trying to think of it as you talk?
I'm trying to figure it out as I talk. Like, again, we were there with the mobile, so it's like I totally get it, and I'm trying to, I want to give them something that we can really grab. And that slow month when it's going to be raining, right? And you're saying, hey, I need to market my company better. Sometimes taking a week of that slow month of just focusing on content creation, of making videos, and you could make enough videos in a week, right, to last you for 3 months. If you really wanted to.
Absolutely.
So I would sort of challenge you there, Marco, to be like, hey, look, if that's your weakness, you can double down on it and say, hey, I'm not great at it, but I'm going to go make a bunch of content when I'm slow, because you're going to get the returns later if that's something that you can afford to do.
Dumb it down. Don't make these long posts. They don't really care. Just speak to the pain of the customer. All right. So what customers don't care is what all you did to the vehicle. What customers do care about is what led that customer to buy that product, that service. So if it's rainy season, I'm speaking to the pain. Ever drive through your freshly detailed car through a mud puddle and a splash up? We got you covered. I'm speaking to the pain of the end user, and that's going to trigger the purchase, not the shiny car.
And creating any type of maintenance, right, where it's a subscription based. I really like that for the mobile side of figuring, hey, listen, we can do a heavy, serious interior detail, exterior detail, but we'd love to get you signed up on our subscription, whatever it is a month, and we'll come visit you once a month. Now you get that money deposited in the beginning of the month, whether they use it or not. The subscription side of it gives you consistency to sort of build your business. And I see a lot more mobile guys doing it. And I think it's a pretty cool method.
Yeah. And think about mobile is convenience. Okay. Like you have one up on our shop. You have to drop your car off and leave it for a day, no matter what. Yeah. Okay. You do not have that. The pain for the customer is you don't have to set at the detail shop all day. You don't have to be without a ride. I'm coming to you. That's the problem you're solving for them. State the problem and how you solve it. All right. So speak to the pain and sell your service.
Cool. Good show, Dustin. Look at us attacking with questions there.
Yeah, man. I hope you're paying me overtime. We're 20 minutes over, sir.
It's lunchtime now. I gotta go get lunch.
So far past lunchtime.
Dustin's hungry.
I'm starving. I'm hangry.
Yeah, right, really good show. I'm excited for next week. Let's spice it up. Like I think we got something cool for next week.
You know what was better than the show is the questions. And
so appreciate everyone listening. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, man. I love to answer questions because you guys get something out of it. And listen, we don't claim to know everything. We're not saying that we speak from experience. I can tell you what I've done wrong a lot. And I know Nick can do the same thing.
Yep. So, times.
We're not up here, saying that we know everything, but we are saying that we can speak from experience and help a lot. So,
and if it saves someone a little bit of a headache, that's what this is for. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Great show, man. Appreciate it, Nick.
Happy Friday, guys. Catch you guys next week.
See ya.